What's up guys, it's Saiyan here coming at you with another Transformers TCG deck profile. Today we're looking at a Runabout Runamuck Steeljaw build that I call my own. And I know that many people would expect this to be Flame War, but I will talk you guys through why I think Steeljaw is the perfect pairing for these two Decepticon cars. Let's have a look at the characters then. Of course, the star of the show are Runabout and Runamuck. They work well super together. You're probably not going to run them without the pairing. Individually running Runabout or Runamuck certainly wouldn't really make much sense. We got two cars here, one ranged, one specialist, and technically Steeljaw on one side is a melee character, so we will take advantage of that. What happens with Runabout is what happens with Runamuck, because obviously start in alt mode. When you flip Runamuck, he says when you flip to this mode, draw a card, and then you flip Runabout on the battlefield to bot mode, so they flip together. And that's exactly what we're trying to do. Each turn, flip the guy who doesn't have its current effect activated, and we can either repair both of them for 1 damage, or we can draw a card, which is both a fun little thing to have, and it complements fairly well this extremely orange pip design deck. And where Steeljaw comes into the picture, of course he starts in alt mode, he's got stealth in alt mode, and when you flip to this mode, each of your characters gets bold 1 until the end of the turn. That's not what we predominantly want to use Steeljaw for. We want to use him for his bot mode ability. He has bold 1, but all of your characters that has 10 stars or more has bold 1 too. So he will give both of our guys bold 1. So usually the first flip is Steeljaw, and then we go ahead and swing with Runamuck or Runabout. Probably Runamuck because he's got a bit more damage on the bot side, but they're evenly matched because Runabout has 5 attack on his alt mode, so you always have one of the guys that's 4 attack and the other one's 5 attack. So how do we complement this package? Well, it's a straightforward deck again, as I said, guys. It's pretty much all orange pips. Now, there is definitely a good argument in looking at introducing Pierce into this deck, and that is something that I've been looking at for the side deck. It's not quite complete yet. If there's a lot of interest in this deck, then of course I will share the side deck in the comment section below, but for that to happen, I'm gonna need you guys to interact with me and let me know what you think of this deck. If you're interested, then I will be looking at sharing the side deck as well and show you how you can bring in enough Pierce to be able to change this deck around to be able to go up against the very blue oriented decks. Right, so first of all, we start with additional bold production. So we got 3 copies of Flamethrower here. I would probably love to have Power Punch in the deck, but I don't have any copies. So that's not going to happen anytime soon because they're all sold out on the channels where I tend to look at. So Flamethrowers will do. And I don't mind that. Actually, Flamethrower is a decent card. But of course not as decent as Grenade Launcher. Grenade Launcher is a fantastic card. Yes, you do lose it after you attack, but that +4 attack is absolutely fantastic. These are the weapons for the deck. Moving on to utilities, of course, no big surprise if I show you that we run 3 turbo boosters. Absolutely fantastic. I think these cards should be ran in any predominantly car-oriented deck. There's no surprise there. You can only put it on cars, but it's really powerful that you get to untap the car you put this equipment onto. So we get extra attacks. We like that a lot. Now, admittedly, we only have Runamuck as a specialist, but for the time being, I think running 3 Field Communicator is still worth it, predominantly because of that blue pip, and we kind of have enough repairs going on as well that if our opponent decides that they want to go after Runamuck, we can hopefully keep it alive just long enough to see enough benefit of Field Communicator. And then onto the armors, we do run 2 copies of Force Field. It's just such a good card, and particularly in heavy orange builds, when you know you're not really going to be flipping any blue, having Force Field in the deck is just the best armor you could have. Mind you, I do run 2 Scrapper Gauntlets. I think it's a bit of an overlooked card. Whilst it doesn't have a green pip to take it into our hands, it is an armor that allows the scrapping of a weapon, and if our opponent doesn't have any weapon, you still get to draw a card. So worst case scenario, you've given your character +1 armor and you drew a card, which in my book is pretty good actually. And then of course, surprise surprise, the last 3 upgrades are 3 copies of Improvised Shield. As you would expect, the double pip is what we are after with this one. We're not going to play it. We'll keep it in rotation, keep it in the scrap pile as much as possible. So that's it for the upgrades, and now let's go ahead and look at the actions. Just like we did with Flamethrower, we are opening up with the big bold card, 3 copies of Supercharge. What can be said that hasn't been said about Supercharge yet? Bold 3 until the end of the turn, fantastic card. But this one is one of my absolute favorites, and I particularly love the Energon Edition art on Start Your Engines. Flip each of your characters from bot mode to car mode, then untap one of your cars. So just allows us to have an additional flip on one of the guys. Obviously it's going to flip the other one as well, but we only get, so you're not going to get into this infinite flipping, of course. Again, what's really important here is that we get to untap one of them to get in another attack. Usually it will be Runabout if you can, because he's going to have 5 attack on the car side. Wedge Formation is our first card where we actually do see the black pip. So yes, we are running a little bit of Pierce, and Wedge Formation fits this deck like a glove. We do have a melee character, which is Steeljaw. As I said, our first flip. We actually can't really repair of Steeljaw, well, we certainly can't repair of it with Runabout's ability, but Wedge Formation does allow us to keep Steeljaw around a little bit longer. Then of course we do have Runabout. He's our ranged character, which will allow us to draw a card, and then Runamuck will allow us to plan 1 as well, which is one of the good ways to get rid of Improvised Shield from our hand. Put it on top of the deck, and then when we swing after we've played Wedge Formation, we are guaranteed that +2 attack of Improvised Shield. I love Wedge Formation. I love that it can do so many things, and I love the pips on this card as well. I think it's a fantastic card of Wave 4. It really entices myself to look at running, you know, this widespread 1 melee, 1 ranged, 1 specialist setup, not just kind of like focusing on specialists or ranged or melee. Yeah. So yeah. Let's move on. Another method of course, looking at just keeping the deck moving and being able to set up our attack pips is Incoming Transmission. Not a big surprise there. Just again, good card. Of course, that orange pip, and then we have 3 copies of Peace Through Tyranny. We're certainly not going to be looking at playing Peace Through Tyranny in this deck. We are just running it for the double orange pip. For upgrade removal, we have 2 copies of Ramming Speed. I find that this is usually enough for what we're trying to do in the deck, but if you feel that you need a little bit more, you might you certainly can look at Enforcement Batons as well. But we do have 2 Scrapper Gauntlets, we have 2 Ramming Speed, which I think is usually more than enough. And then let's look at the remaining 4 actions. I personally love Hit and Run. I don't know what the general thought is behind Hit and Run in the current community that doesn't play the fan sets, but I think Hit and Run is a fantastic card. we run one copy of Escape Route just to complement the 2 hit and runs, but we get our usual flip from bot mode to alt mode, which again can be really useful for these guys. It can mean that basically if things go well, and we tend to see Star Your Engines hit and run Escape Route, pretty much every turn we're able to do 2 flips. So that means that each turn we ideally draw a card and also repair 1 damage of the 2 guys. Not only that, but when you play hit and run, you can move 1 damage counter from the bot you've changed to an enemy in alt mode. I would say probably 60-70% of the time you will find a target where you can just move a damage counter onto, and that's better than direct damage. First of all, you move a damage counter onto it, which is not direct damage, because you're not dealing the damage, you are moving the damage counter over. And also, you basically have basically a 2 health swing, because you repair 1 from one of your guys, and you also put that remove damage counter onto your opponent's guys. So I think it's just again, it's very similar to wedge formation in a way that the white pip is good, the Pierce black pip is good, and we get 2 specific effects of the 1 card. So it's just that multifunctionality I really like about hit and run. And in Escape Route, again, flip one of your characters from bot mode to alt mode. It's not going to be a problem. We're always going to have an easy way of just a natural flip with one of these guys and then the Escape Route, or start with Escape Route first and then the natural flip. So we should be able to get that off fairly often, and that green pip of course will allow us to get it into our hand as well. And then last but definitely not least, 1 copy of Mission Briefing. Only 1 in this particular deck, because whilst we do tend to be able to set up our field that all 3 of our bots are in bot mode, which means we draw 3 cards every single time of Mission Briefing. I do feel that probably 2 would be a little bit too much in this deck. I actually run 2 Mission Briefings in my Soundwave deck, not the major Soundwave, the special set Soundwave deck that I have, and that is particularly fantastic because of course the Decepticons, the mini cassettes come out in bot mode from under both Blaster and Soundwave, so Mission Briefing will probably be looking at drawing you consistently 4 cards. I can do an updated deck profile on that as well, guys, if you're interested, but just please let me know in the comment section below. I think Mission Briefing is an absolutely fantastic card if you can ensure that your bots can flip around a lot and you particularly find them useful in bot mode. So yeah, this is it for the actions. It's a really fun deck to play with. I've played a lot with this deck recently. I always tweak it around a little bit, like wedge formation only got in a couple of weeks ago when I got my hands on some wave 4 stuff, but I absolutely love this little deck. It's one of my little pet projects, and I'll carry on just trying to make it even more consistent. And as I said, there's a little bit more Pierce that is coming in from the side deck. If you guys are interested, let me know in the comments below. Please hit a massive like if you've enjoyed this video. Also, don't forget to subscribe. Please leave a comment below and share it with a friend as well who's also into Transformers. Up until next time, guys, Saiyan signing out. Peace.